Should you watch Intergalactic? No. Is it as bad as reviews suggest? Yes. Do you need to see my whole review? Not really, but watch it anyway. As a sci-fi fan, I'm always looking for new series to watch, so when I saw Now TV was going to add a new series, I was excited. And as with all new series, the first thing you do is watch the ad. So, the ad. The ad looked promising. It showed a cop who was arrested, but the prisoners took over her prison transport. The show's got good animation and decent acting, which is more than many other sci-fi series on Now TV. Even better than that, it's a comedy. So, how was Intergalactic? The short answer is bad. I'll focus on episode 1 in this review, but I've watched the whole thing, unironically for research. If I weren't making this video, I wouldn't have bothered. It opens in modern London, deserted in the ruins, with a giant floating city above. Cutting to the main character receiving a report that a suspect has escaped. After some overly fancy flying, she lands and follows on foot, and apprehends a suspect who's stealing New Aurum. After the arrest, she's celebrating at a bar, but what is presumably the equivalent to SWAT bursts in and arrests her. They have video of her stealing the evidence. That was the setup. It sounds promising, but in action, it's disappointing. There are several small mistakes, and from his introduction, the quote-unquote bad guy who frames her is easily identifiable. He's a white guy and the only character over 30, so he was just too much out of place. He stood out like a sore thumb. Anyway, she's processed and taken into custody off planet. It's on the prison transport that we find the one redeeming character in the whole series, Candy. Candy stands out for 2 reasons. The first is this. I'm not going to lie, that doesn't for me. The second reason is she's the only character with a proper backstory and character arc. Every other character seems to be there just to progress the story, and it's only Candy who has a story of their own. Which brings me to my main issue with this series, the story. The story is underdeveloped, the world building is non-existent, and even after watching the entire series I don't understand what was going on. We're told that the Earth is dying. Why is the Earth dying? We don't know. How is the Earth dying? We don't know. How will this magic power source help? We don't know. The entire series is built on this need for power, and yet it's barely even mentioned and certainly never explained. Not only this, but it's juxtaposed with conflicting factors. Their ships can teleport, their cities float above the Earth, for no apparent reason. They fly prisoners to other planets for holding, even though they have a vast amount of space in the city below, where other people live. That's right, despite the city being destroyed, it is supposedly inhabited by many. Even one of the equivalent red shirts who works in the command control room is relegated to living in the shadow of the floating city he works in. There are many unanswered questions in the series, a few of which I'll ask here. Why bother with a floating city? What's Earth's relation to the aliens? How many alien species are out there? Do they have their own government? Why not relocate to a new planet if Earth is dying? Again, how and why is Earth dying, and how will this magic power source help them? There were also questions about plot points I haven't mentioned yet. Why didn't her father just show up and meet her instead of orchestrating her arrest and subsequent prison break? Why is it so easy to break out the cells in the prison transport ship? Why do the cell doors on the prison transport ship open when there's low power? How come only 2 characters have biomechanical upgrades? And how come that isn't something the police check for when they arrest people? But it's not to say there are no redeeming factors. They also introduce some interesting ideas, like the main character's mother being in charge of justice, and being a rather Orwellian character convicting people with little evidence and arresting the families of traitors. But this isn't enough to save the series. Well, what do other people think? Not much more than me, apparently. It has a 3.9 on IMDb and an audience score of 39% of Rotten Tomatoes. Most reviews are weighted towards 1-star or 7-star reviews. Personally, I tend to mark high, as do many others, and a 7-star review often means it's only just watchable, whereas a 1-star review really means you dislike it. So I'd put more credence in the lower reviews rather than the higher ones. What about YouTube reviews? Well, there aren't many. In fact, at the time of writing this, there's only one, and that's by Gate of Theories. To say the least, we disagree a lot. For instance, he believes it gets better after the first episode, whereas I think the first episode is one of the best, as the show at least shows some potential. the best episode being episode 5 because of Candy's development. The only thing we agree on is that the animation is fairly good and the prison suits are awful. They look like knitted jumpsuits. So, in conclusion, should you watch Intergalactic? In short, no. It's underdeveloped and disappointing. There's no world building or explanation of anything not directly related to the story. The characters are two-dimensional and boring, bar one. And even on completion, you're left deflated and confused. So, that was my review for Intergalactic. If you liked it, leave a like, leave a comment and subscribe. If not, dislike. Still leave a comment and still subscribe. Till next time, I've been Alexander, and you've been
Audience Member 5.